All right, so we're back at it again with the reading of the Constitution Annotated. We are here in the Constitution Annotated Analysis and Interpretation of the U.S. Constitution. We just finished reading early amendments, the 11th and 12th Amendments, and the Civil War Amendments. And now we're moving into Intro 3.5, early 20th century amendments, 16th through the 22nd Amendments. So this is where we're at. It looks like this is a rather long document, so we may end up only reading this in this section. I do wish I only read the Civil War ones broken up from the earlier ones. I wish I did it in less increments. The first two in this 3.1 and 3.2 were really short, so that lulled me into a false sense of how long this would actually take for each section. So I'm not looking forward to the editing of that because it's going to be like 40 minutes, but here we are. We're going to keep going. Let's move it in here. We love keeping information free, so that's why we're reading this to begin with. Let's move on. All right, so here we are. We have, remember, brackets enclosing an amendment number indicate that the number was not specifically assigned in the resolution proposing the amendment. So, amendment number 16. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on income from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. The 16th Amendment, so it just goes on when it was ratified and stuff. So I kind of want to start to skip that. Please pause if you want to read all of this when it was passed and what have you. I'm sure it will go back over it later when it breaks it down by actual amendment. So this is just an intro saying when it was done. So the Secretary of State at the time was Henry Knox that certified this. It passed. It was proposed in 2009. It was completed in February 3rd of 1913, and this is when it was ratified by each of the states. Let's see. All right, how many? 48 states in the Union at the time. That's kind of neat information. So we have the Amendment 5. Wait, what in the hell am I talking about? That's Amendment 17. If you don't see the time, you do not see the time because my face is in the way, but it is 12:30 and I'm tired. I'm sorry. But we're trucking through. We want to at least finish up this introduction section tonight because I have goals and aspirations and I need to lay the framework, and here I am doing the work. Amendment 17. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of state legislatures. Each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for the electors of the most numerous branch of state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancy by election, as the legislature may direct. So it's saying that the legislature has the power to give the executive the power to appoint senators in the meantime. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. Neat little thing. So this was proposed by Congress on May 13th of 1912 when it passed the House, having previously passed the Senate on June 12th of 1911. It appears officially in 37 Statute 646. Ratification was complete on April 8th of 1913 when the 36th state Connecticut approved the amendment, there being then 48 states in the Union. On May 31st of 1913, Secretary of State William Bryan certified that it had become part of the Constitution. Please pause it now if you want to see the exact date when they were ratified. Amendment number 3. 18. After 1 year from the ratification of this article to manufacture, sale, and transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territory subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Section 2. The Congress in several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution within 7 years of the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. The 18th Amendment was proposed to Congress on December 18th of 1917. When it passed the Senate, having previously passed the House on December 17th. It appears officially in 40 Statute 1059. Ratification was completed on January 16th of 1919, when the 36th state approved the amendment, there being then 48 states of the Union. On January 29th of 1919, Acting Secretary of State Frank Polk certified that this amendment had been adopted by the requisite number of states. By its terms, this amendment did not become effective until 1 year after its ratification. Neat. Please pause here to see all of the ratification dates. Now let's see, it was on 19, so it didn't become until 20, 1 year after the ratification. So in January of 1920, alcohol became illegal. Right after no, there wasn't a boom yet, was there? The 20s were good. Roaring 20s, woo. Alright, Amendment number 19. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 19th Amendment was proposed by Congress on June 4th of 1919 when it passed the Senate, having previously passed the House on May 21st. It appears officially in the 41st Statute of 362. Ratification was completed on August 18th of 1920 when the 36th state, Tennessee, approved the amendment, there being then 48 states in the Union. On August 26th of 1920, Secretary of State Bainbridge Colby certified that it had become part of the Constitution. Please pause here if you want to see all of the ratification dates. Number 20. Section 1. The terms of the President and Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of Senators and Representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January, of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. So now we're getting some more official. There's probably been some squabbles, like, hey, I'm supposed to be in office. No, I'm in office. Get out of my office. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. If at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president shall have died. What? If at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president-elect shall have died, the vice president-elect shall become president. If a president shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of this term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until a president shall have qualified. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case wherein neither a president-elect nor a vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as president, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president shall have qualified. So, Section 4. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a president whenever the right choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a vice president whenever the right to choose shall have devolved upon them. Sections 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from its date of submission. So this is something that they seem to have been adding to all of the amendments. The 20th Amendment was proposed to Congress on March 2nd of 1932. When it passed, the Senate having previously passed the House on March 1st, it appears officially in 47 Statute of 745, ratification completed on January 28th of 1933, when the 36th state approved the amendment, there then being 48 states of the Union. On February 6th of 1933, Secretary of State Henry Stamford certified that it had become part of the Constitution. Pause here to see any of these ratification dates. 21st Amendment. The 18th Article of the Amendment, the Article of Amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. The transportation and importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws thereof is hereby prohibited. Huh? So it's saying that the federal government is no longer going to say that liquors are no longer allowed. So we're repealing this, and then we're saying here that the transportation or importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws thereof is hereby prohibited. So you better, the federal government's not going to stop you, but if you start to encroach on the laws of the land thereof, the federal government is going to prohibit you. Prohibit you! This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions of the several states as provided in the Constitution within 7 years of the date of the submission hereof to the United States by the Congress. The 21st Amendment was proposed to by Congress on February 20th of 1933, when it passed the House, having previously passed the Senate on February 16th. It appears officially in 47 Statute of 1625. Ratification was completed on December 5th of 1933, so it didn't even take a year, when the 36th state, Utah, approved the amendment, there being then 48 states of the Union. On December 5th of 1933, Acting Secretary of State William Phillips certified that it had been adopted by the requisite number of states. Hell yes. Pause here if you want to see when this 21st Amendment was ratified by each of these little luscious little colonies. So we got number 22. Number 22, what do you do? What do you do? Number 22, let's see, section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of president when this article was proposed by the Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of president or acting as the president during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of president or acting as president during the remainder of such term. Article 2. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of submission to the states by the Congress. This 22nd Amendment was proposed by Congress on March 24th of 1947, having passed the House on March 21st of 1947, having previously passed the Senate on March 12th of 1947, it appears officially in 61st Statutes 959, ratification completed on February 27th of 1951. Wowza, wowza, wowza. That took a while, didn't it? When the 36th state, Minnesota, approved the amendment, there then been only 48 states in the Union. On March 1st of 1951, Les Larson, Administrator of General Services, certified that it had been adopted by the requisite number of states. Please pause here if you want to see the official ratification dates of all of these little lands. All of these little lands. All of these little lands. If you want to see them, then see them. Then see them, then see them, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, then see them, oh my God, then see them, don't see them, oh my God, then see them.